It's that time of year again where we're looking ahead to see what's on trend for 2024, and I am super excited to go over this with you guys today. So I want to jump right into it. The first trend is moving away from open floor plans. So what I'm seeing for 2024 is a lot more talk about how we can take this, open floor plan and create more intimate moments that are really tailored throughout your space for your own needs and preferences. I feel like we've really moved into that needing your own personal space after a few years of craziness. And I think there's something about just having defined zones within a home. So for example, it's really become a lot more popular to have that, defined office space, for example, which is something that might have just been a desk in the, open area living room before. So that's really exciting to see that this is continuing to move forward, and just the way that we use our homes are, changing a little bit, and we're wanting to create some of that definition, which is also some nostalgia. So kind of like when I talked about the color trends video, we're definitely going to see a lot around that nostalgic, like times past or better times in the past. I say air quotes because I don't know, it really depends on what era you're from. Another one, and this one, I am all over this one because I personally have a very, I would say, like distinctive personal taste. It's not cookie cutter, and that is exactly what they're saying and what is being projected for 2024, which we're already seeing. We kind of move into these trends slowly, but that cookie cutter and doing things very like just standard in a standard way isn't on trend. And I feel like we saw that a lot when maximalism really took off and people were really, gravitating towards that. I really think it wasn't so much about the maximalist style as much as it was about curating that personal story within your space. And I think that's really exciting about the trends right now, is whether you're a minimalist, a maximalist, or anything in between of any style, it's really about creating and curating that space for your own tastes. And that's when they mean, not cookie cutter. It's not something you can go and just pick off a shelf. It's to be, really thought about your own story and how you live in this space and what works for you. And I love this movement of really personalized and non-traditional cookie cutter type of spaces. Another one that we're really seeing, on the horizon is this European inspiration. We're really seeing this Italian Renaissance revival. So it's really drawing the inspiration from Italian design, both contemporary and classical. And we're really celebrating the past, but in a very modern way come 2024. From tapestries to intricate marble details, we're really discovering this timeless, I'm going to say timeless, kind of like air quotes, because everything kind of, comes and goes. Timeless elegance of, that Italian inspired decor. What I love about this is we've seen this infused in some of those really kind of bold marble patterns that we've talked about coming on trend, and we're continuing to see that with more of that European classic, tailoring to it. So I'm loving that we've maybe seen it come about in a very big and bold way, and we're now kind of seeing it becoming more tailored and more, I would say, palatable to the general population is what you're seeing happen now. So curves have been big for a while, but now we're seeing and talking about curves and edges, which is really this hard and soft coming together and finding their own kind of organic, feeling with one another. So this trend of curves and edges, it's continuing into 2024, but it's new in the way that we're exploring it. So it's showing how softer lines and organic shapes are being incorporated into architecture. It's adding a touch of elegance and fluidity into your space. So we're going to really see a continuation of a lot of the, trends that we were talking about last year, but with a twist. It's kind of like that Italian elegance. We're definitely pushing it to its next level. Probably next year or the year after, we'll be talking about angular stuff again. Who knows? But right now we're still on curves, but curves and edges. So something that comes to mind is when you see a vaulted ceiling, but it has that detail to it. I'll show an image, and like that's curves and edges. Like you're seeing hard and soft put together. And even with some of the lamp fixtures, there was this gorgeous, modern lamp, and it's this round, beautiful beautiful globe, and then it has this metal, very straight, very, angular piece, circular but flat on top, and it kind of looked like a hat, but it's a really beautiful light fixture. Again, I'll find that image and include it. I've seen it in a lot of architectural images, and even in commercial design we've been seeing a lot of that, and it's just a beautiful piece. So that's where we see that curve and angular come together in a really visual sense to kind of show you what that could look like. So we're seeing this luxurious spa-like, hotel-like come into fashion. Now, we've been talking about this for a while, this spa-like space in your home, creating these sanctuaries within your space, but it's really embracing that hotel-like quality. So we want to stay in, but we also want to indulge. So, creating your own personal luxury, I did do a video on it. I'll link it below about quiet luxury. You don't necessarily have to go out and spend lots of money to get this beautiful, luxurious feel. But we do want to try to bring in that hotel-like amenity to our space. So think about integrated lighting, bold wallpapers, perhaps a featured stone if you want to, spend a little bit more. And it can really transform your home into that relaxed and casually luxurious retreat. So it's really creating a getaway from the everyday. And that's what we want to think about our home, is a sanctuary. So I love this trend. I think this is an amazing trend, and it can be really a personal style. We can still incorporate not being cookie cutter when we're thinking about these type of luxury, items. Just like there are a million different styles of hotels, there can be a million different ways to approach the hotel-like feeling, but it's definitely adding in those little quiet elegance that make your home feel like you're at a hotel. Some of the ways that I would think about incorporating this is perhaps in a really good quality set of linens on your bed, creating a vibe in your room where you have beautiful lighting, you have the plants, you have, the matching linens, and you really create that feeling within your space of going to, a 5-star hotel, whatever that may look like to you. This one I thought was interesting. I feel like we really saw maximalism hit a peak a little while ago. This one is kind of a new take on it, but still the same. I don't know about my feelings on this one. I'm not gonna lie. And that is undone maximalism. So basically, messy, which is, it's supposed to look lived in. I feel like in some of the more boho or some of the more, even French country, you have that little bit of lived in look because you bring in some pieces that aren't so pristine. The undone maximalism is a little bit more like a stack of books, which, I do have that everywhere. I mean, I love books, and I do tend to have them just kind of lying around. Actually, maybe I'm a little bit more undone maximalist than I thought, but that's just me not having cleaned up after the day. I didn't really think of it too much of a style, but that's what that's a thing. So it's, the world of patterns and lots of them, open shelving and gallery walls, just infusing that personality and functionality and fun, really into your home decor, which I'm here for it. I do love maximalism, but at the same time, I don't know about the undone maximalism. Comment below. What do you think? I'd love your thoughts on that one. Okay, this one, unlike the last one, I can totally get behind. The next trend that we're seeing is this movement towards rustic textures or more natural and organic spaces. I am all over this. I love that texture is taking a center stage come 2024. Thinking about things from pitted timbers to hand-woven textiles, more nature-inspired textures are really on the rise in popularity. And we're really discovering how these elements can add some warmth and additional charm to your living spaces. What I love about these type of elements, the natural elements, is that your design style can be super minimalist, and you can bring in some of these rustic textures, and it's really going to take that minimalist vibe and add some warmth and coziness to the space. You could be really interested in a mid-century modern, and it would feel cool until you add in some of these warmer rustic natural textures. whether you're into Scandinavian, farmhouse, boho, Gothic revival, any of the styles really, you add some of those elements that are more natural textures and natural materials, and you will instantly soften up the feeling of the space. And that's what I love about this trend, is it really can touch on any personal style, but it will really help give your space that warmth and personal touch that you want it to have. Okay. This color is hot. Like, I have friends that are talking about using this in their kitchens, in their cabinetry, on their walls, and that's this almond beige, which is what they're calling it. I'm saying more of a mushroom tone, but this very nice, warm, neutral beige. I know some people are like, ugh, boring. Beige. Now, don't get me wrong, maximalism and bold colors are still here, and in fashion. But this kind of mushroom color, this beautiful, warm, neutral tone is really, really popular, and it's just gaining popularity going into 2024. And we're seeing it a lot in like kitchen cabinetry. We're seeing it on walls. We're seeing it used on furniture. It's just one of these beautiful, warm tones that we're really seeing in our spaces. It's a timeless neutral, really, but I feel like we're seeing it a lot more on a bigger scale with items like kitchens, right? That's a big investment piece. So when you're doing something like a color in a kitchen, I mean, you want it to last a while. And I don't think, beige is going anywhere or any form of it, but this nice mushroom tone, very specific, is really timeless, I do think, and it's easier to manage than white. I have a white kitchen, beautiful, but it takes some work. I feel like this will hide just enough dirt but still feel really light, airy, and fresh. So continuing on that color theme, I did talk about this in the color video as well, and this one I am seeing this everywhere, and that's that burnt amber or burnt orange, maybe you might think of it, or that rustic color, that rusty kind of, orangey fall color. It's a fall color, but it's really warm and cozy, and I feel like we're seeing it really embraced through, velvet pillows and linens and decor pieces, and we're also seeing a lot of it in furniture. So we're seeing a lot of velvet used again. I feel like we went through a phase where velvet was passé. Like, we didn't see velvet for a long time. And in the last several years, we've seen a really big resurgence in the use of velvet in our furniture and, accessories, curtains, the whole gamut. And this particular color, this burnt amber color, has been super hot coming into this year. And it's not just a fall trend. This is a 2024 trend. And again, it comes back to that very like homey and warm, cozy feeling. Like, I feel like that's the theme going into 2024, is that we have this very subdued but still bold environment. And by subdued, I mean is like coziness, but still bold. So it's not to say that, we're not expressing ourselves and showing, interesting colors and palettes. It's just a very warm palette, and it's a very homey feeling. It's not, too out there with like pinks and blues and like super bright colors. It's definitely more of a subdued palette. So I am really liking that. It feels very inviting come 2024. It's already happening, but you know what I mean. This one, yes, I have seen this a lot more, and that's these vintage lamps and really interesting and unique kitchen items. Like, I have been craving to just buy stuff that I do not need, but there's been some beautiful, interesting, I would say vintage with air quotes, because they're probably just recreations. A lot of these companies are making, new that looks old, but really unique shapes, and really, it's really about bringing in those unique pieces. And I feel like we're seeing that with lighting, but we're also seeing it with like a lot of these kitchen decor. Like, I feel like I've been seeing those absolutely adorable little egg trays and just little, unique measuring cup things. And I know they're just accessories, but they feel vintage, like they feel old. It feels like something that we haven't seen for a while. I know if you're into that trend, you'll probably be used to it, but I feel like we're seeing it more in the mainstream. Or another example is, like pottery, just like very natural and organic looking cups and plates and just that very, you know, rustic or handmade vibe to it. So that goes with that vintage, but also just unique and kind of interesting kitchen items. I feel like we're really seeing a lot of, and I really want to touch on with the vintage lamps is that, as I've said many times, lighting is really, really important in your space. Having multiple levels of lighting, so your ambient, your accent, and your task lighting will really help make a space feel really good. So you really want to think about that when you're, you know, designing a space, and by bringing in some of these vintage lamps, you can really add that extra layer in to make sure that it feels really, really good. Okay, I get in trouble all the time for butchering words. And I feel like this is going to be another one. So I'm going to apologize now, and I'm going to try my best because I forgot to Google how to say it. But it's ZEILLIGE, ZELLIGE tiles. So it's a Moroccan-inspired ZEILLIGE tile. ZEILLIGE. Oh, crap. How do I say ZELLIGE?
ZEILLIGE.
ZEILLIGE. Okay, ZEILLIGE tiles. That's how we say it. Okay, so these are, again, very natural and organic feeling, but they are stunning. I could see these really taking over. We're going to see this a lot coming into 2024. I think the colors are going to be beautiful and vibrant, and they're just really going to add this, like, it's like very earthy, and you can add it into your kitchen or your bathroom, and it's going to add a lot of character and elegance to the space. I think these we're going to see a lot more of, and I'm here for it. I think they're gorgeous. Vertical stacked. Ooh, that's going to look awesome. I saw this one image in this beautiful green, and it's, you know, because it's more of a natural texture, it's not exactly like a solid green. It's got a bit of a different, you know, hues to it depending on how you look at it, and I just thought it's just gorgeously stunning, and I think that we're gonna have a lot of popularity with those tiles in different spaces. I could see a shower wall being done in that, backsplash in the kitchen, so many places. It's gonna be very hot. Okay, this one I'm liking. I'm really liking this one because sometimes you have a space and it's hard to find the right size rug for it. You know, it's just hard. Like, even as a designer, it's either too big, too rectangular, not square, you know, like you want a square or it's not going to work, or round. This makes it work. Irregular rugs are coming on trend, and oh my God, I'm here for it. It adds a really interesting visual division in your space by not having a rug that's, you know, just a rectangular or just an oval or just a square. I like this. I think this is really interesting. I think it adds to that organic maximalist, like a lot softer. Again, it's that, you know, curves. I like an irregular rug. I think this is going to really just take, you know, traditional rugs and kind of put them in the back seat for a while and really just make a nice statement in your living room space or dining space or bedroom, wherever you want to use the rug. And I think what I like about it is if you prefer curvy, there's curvy. If you like geometric, there's geometric. If you like more angular, there's angular. It's really a rug that's making a bold statement come 2024. I'm all over it. I'm here for it, and I'm already eyeballing a few. Cork. It's back, baby. Cork flooring is back. I feel like it never really went anywhere, but it had its moment. It's kind of come and gone over the years, but it's back, and it's sustainable and it's stylish. So it's back, and it's better than it's ever been. So I think what's really nice is we're really looking at how it's eco-friendly and sustainable, which people really like. But honestly, cork is just really warm, and it adds a lot of style to your space. It has a really unique look to it, and there's lots of different ways of incorporating it. I feel like it's, you know, a great sustainable option if that's something that you're really, you know, keen on incorporating into your space. But it really does add a lot of character, and it adds, you know, just a lot of feeling to the space. It's a nice warm texture to use in your space as a flooring. Like, I think cork has just a great look to it. So, you know, it's great also on a functionality level. So cork all around has always been a great product, but I think it's nice to see that it's really making a comeback in like the trend avenue, and we're gonna see a lot more cork come 2024. So I don't know about you, but on TikTok, there is this artist who does these really great oversized pieces, and she'll like paint each square and you kind of see her building it, or like there's ones with the little paint pieces and it's almost like an ombre effect. Okay, why I'm bringing that up is because these statement art pieces are huge for 2024. And when I saw this as I was doing my homework for this video, that was the video I thought of, was these great TikToks where she makes these huge murals of these what seems so simple, but then when you see it on the grand scheme, it's actually quite a complex pattern. And the colors are beautiful, and it's a great piece. And I thought, I have a wall that I would love a big statement piece in. I have no idea what it's going to be. I have lots of different visions. I change my mind every single day. One day it's going to be a moss wall, and one day I'm going to attempt something like she does, because I do like to get a bit crafty, but then I feel like that would be a lot of work. And anyways, statement art pieces, hot, hot, hot for 2024, big, abstract, and vibrant. So I think that's great. It's going to add a lot of personality to a space. Artworks, obviously we always like having artwork in our space, but I think really these like statement pieces are just you're going to continue to see them on TikTok, and you're going to continue to see them used a lot in the interior design spaces. So I want to talk a little bit and briefly about the decorating trends for 2024 and some of the color and materials. So we're really going to see, as I've really touched on throughout this video, an overall theme of natural, earthy, close to nature spaces. That's really what's going to be in demand. We're going to see how, materials like marble, concrete, and natural shades can really create a stylish and serene living. I feel like that's what's really been encapsulated in a lot of these trends that we've been talking about in this video, is this very homey, organic, natural design aesthetic is really where we're seeing things go. We're also seeing a lot of like these deep tones, very like that burnt amber, right? It's a very neutral in the sense of like natural, from a natural kind of color palette. It's a color we see in nature. That's what I mean by a natural color palette, but it's very deep and rich and beautiful. So we're seeing a lot of those beautiful tones. I feel like the way that we're seeing design trends move and the colors and materials are very sophisticated. As much as it's very homey and it's very comfortable, it's a very sophisticated form of it. When we talked about those hotel type feeling spaces, the spa-like spaces, it's that sophisticated comfort, I think, is like the good verb around colors and materials. We're also seeing a lot of precious stones like marble, onyx, and granite, really incorporating into our, luxurious interiors. Of course, that can be a big expense, but it is something that we are seeing quite a bit of coming into 2024. So I'm really excited about where the trends are going this year. I feel like last year was, I don't want to say chaotic, because I liked all of the stuff that was coming out last year. But one of the items that I talked about last year that hasn't come up at all is those kind of bold terrazzos. Now we're seeing more of like a natural, quieter statement version. We are definitely moving away from some of those more bold and bright type of spaces, and seeing a lot more of the boldness brought in a more sophisticated and comfortable way. And I like it. I feel like you're going to the Alps, to like a ski resort. Like, I don't know. It is definitely a very inviting trend year, and I am all over it. I think it's exciting. I think this year, from a design standpoint, we are going to see some absolutely stunning pieces just come out all over, whether it's wallpaper, paint, flooring, furniture, decor, finishing items, like everything and everything in between. If you guys enjoyed this video, check out my quiet luxury video, or reflect back on 2023 and see what trends were hot then. You never know. You might like some of those better. You might not. I don't know. We'll see. All right, guys, until next time. Bye.